Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining AquaSphere. In the game of AquaSphere, we are each scientists. We are trying to program our robots or bots, these little happy guys here, to do various actions. We are then trying to move our scientists or our researcher, I can't remember the names of them, to various locations in amongst the AquaSphere. So these little other domes in amongst the larger dome. So we move them around to action the thing that has been selected or programmed, pre-programmed for us in the location that's going to give us the most points or the best benefit. On top of that, each of us have our own little extra dome that will grow through the game that tells us how much stuff we can hold or how much stuff we can do at any one point. On your turn, you have two choices. The first choice is in this circle or dome where you have your engineers. They will move along the arrows, so they'll choose between this spot and this spot. These are the actions that are going to be programmed, and they change every round in accordance with this card. This card at the moment is telling you what is going to be available in each location for the next round. When you choose one of those locations, you take the upper leftmost bot off your board, which reveals a number, and you place it on the matching icon. You are only able to have two actions programmed at any one time. If you wish to program another action, you could return a bot to your board and you would gain 2 time counters for doing so. The other option you have on your turn is in the main dome or the main spheres, otherwise known as the stations. So I can move my engineer to any of the other domes. It's going to cost me the time as marked on the airlock. So if I want to do something in this space, that would cost me 1 time. So I'd remove 1 time from my board. I will then action one of the 2 actions I have on my board to perform a task in this sphere. So this would then go into the control spot. So that's the bot going to the control spot. I place my engineer on the location that connects to the icon. So that was the green one, and I do what that icon says, in which case, take that. And I'll talk through what each of the icons are in a moment. On my next turn around, if I wish to use the same pod for the other action, I can do that. I push this guy out into this kind of holding tube, and then move my guy to the matching location and do what that icon says. Now I can continue doing that as much as I like. The maximum that any one tube can hold is 2. So if I wish to send another one there, because I've actioned another one of these guys is going to return to my highest number on my own board. If, however, it was another player who's wishing to do that, then what happens is one of yellow's will go back to his board because you're looking for an even number of the colors in any one tube. And the number of bots that can stay in any one tube depends on the number of players. So if there's 2 players, you can have 2 bots in there. If there's 3 players, you can have 4 bots in there. If there's 4 players, you can have 5 bots in there. So what are the actions? There are 6 potential actions available to us in any of the pods or along the top. So let's run through them. The first action is the green action that I showed you earlier, which is take the green part from whichever pod your guy is on and add it to your own research station. What that does is it adds to the size of your research station. So to start with, you can only hold 2 crystals. You can kill 2 octopods. I'll talk about them later. You can hold 2 of these cards. I'll talk about that later. And you can hold 4 times. If I add that section to the station, I can hold a 3rd crystal. And there are icons on each of those green bits all the way around, and they will get replenished at the end or beginning of each, let's call them rounds, of each round. Now the other thing with these is you'll notice there's letters on each section, or most sections. At the end of the game, you will get a bonus 5 points if you have all 6 sections. So if you've got an entire circle there, it's worth a bonus 5 points. There are also extra points at the end of the game for the number of unique letters that you have. So at the moment I've got 2 unique letters, and on the board here it shows that if I've got 2 unique letters, that will give me 3 extra points. If I can get 3 unique letters, 6 points, etc., all the way down to if I get 6 unique letters, it's worth 21 points. The next portion of the board is time. Now you can only keep enough time in your own capsule according to the marker. So at the moment you can only have 4. You'll need to grow your capsule to be able to, or your research station, in order to be able to hold more of those time markers. When you go for time markers, you will get at least 2. So no matter how many are actually piled up there. So if I took time markers in the location I'm currently at, there are no chits in there, but I will gain 2 from the general supply anyway. And you're only able to take up to the amount that you can hold in your own research station sector, whatever they're calling it. The next one is the crystals, which is the black one. Once again, you can only hold as many crystals as you have space in your research station or in your sector. I keep misplaying that. So you'll take as many as you can hold from the ones available at the location where you're playing. And I'll talk about why those crystals are important in a moment. Next is the purple one, the octopods. Your initial sector says that you can fight 2 of them. You're not going to keep them, you're just going to get rid of them from the area in which you're standing. If you can expand your sector, you'll be able to take out 3 or more. You get points for doing this. So to start with, he'll take out 2 of those octopods. And there's a table in the rules book which shows you how many points you get for destroying octopods. So if you take out 1, you'll get 1 point, take out 2, you get 3 points, 3, you get 6, etc. And you take those points immediately on the outside track of the main research circle. The next one is the blue area, or the submarines. So what happens with the submarines? You take the leftmost submarine off your board, place it in the smallest area, which is at this end, I guess the furthest, I don't know how to describe that, because everyone's orientation is different, but it's the one at this end. And what happens there is you will spend the time, so you go to the one with the least time being used on it. This one's going to use 1 time. Spend 1 time to place your submarine there, and then you take the points as indicated in the middle of the board, and that will get higher as you go further through that deck. So he would take 2 points for doing that. The next one along is the research card. So if that's up here, and that allows you to take the research card that's at the top. You also get the knowledge points from the light bulb in the middle when you take a research card. So you take that, keep that in your play area. Notice this symbol means, the infinity symbol means that you're going to be able to use that indefinitely. To start with, you're only able to hold 2 cards. So there's one that will give ongoing benefits. What each of those cards mean is on the back of the rules book. The one with that symbol, the pause symbol, is something that's going to score at the end of every round. The one-time symbol, the ones with the one-time symbol will be able to be actioned only once per game. The one with the lightning symbol gets actioned straight away when you take the card. And the last action is this multicolored guy, also with the white background, and that one is different on every one of the sections of the AquaSphere. But what it means is it's basically programming another bot to do whatever is in that location for that particular sphere. Once per round, you're able to spend 3 time to place a bot on an unprogrammed symbol. So I can spend 3 time to place him there if that's one I've been unable to do, or I really want to do that again. Notice I put that time, one of those times up there. I put the other 2 back into the supply. The reason I put this one up here is to show that I've already done that action. Then when we get to the end of the round, I remove that to show that that is now available again. That's all the actions. The only other thing that you need to be aware of and know about is that there is a scoring round at the end of every round. So once everyone does the 3rd action that's available, which is saying pass, and the earlier you pass, the more likely you are to be the first player on the next turn or next round. Once everyone says pass, there's a scoring round. And the scoring is in accordance here. So there's a couple of things to be aware of with this scoring. First up, you get time in, depending on how many of your submarines you have released. So this guy will get 2 time tokens back in, up to the maximum available on their own sector. So that at the moment is 4. Then we do a scoring, but you don't take the score straight away because there's addition and subtraction from that score. Why is that important? Because if we look very closely at the board, we'll notice there are these red lines. At those red lines, you need to spend 1 crystal to go across that red line. Once you have crossed the red line, you cannot come backwards. So if you're losing points for any reason, you won't go backwards past a red line. So let's look at a real quick scoring of the yellow's current positions. So first up, we look for who has a control of the majority, and that is talking about in the sphere, the white has control there at the moment, and that is all. If yellow had control there, and say white had done something there, both of them share control, so they would both get the same number of points, and you would add together the points available and split it in half. So there's 6 points for the person who has the most, and 3 points for the person who has second most. If they're even, it's 4 points each, so 9 divided by 2 and round down. If it's like that, yellow would get 6 points. I'm not going to add the points straight away, because you then have a look at your board, and whatever the highest number of the light bulb is, that's more points. So that makes it 6 plus 2 gives you 8 points. Then count in the number of crystals you have. So I've got 2 crystals, which is worth another 3 points. So that's 11 points. And then it's minus points for every octopod, should I say. I think I might have called them octobots in the introduction, that are on the spheres that you control. So because he only controls 1 sphere and there's 1 there, he loses 1 point. If he happened to also control this one, where there's another 2, he would lose 6 points because of the 3. So there's a table that tells you how many points you're going to lose depending on how many octopods are there. So with the current setup, he would be 11 minus 1 for that octobot, so he would get 10 points. Now we come over to the scoring. He's currently on 5, so that pushes him up to 15. He's gone past one of those, so he spends a crystal to go past there. Now, if he happens to end up with negative points on a future scoring round, he won't drop anywhere below that red line, but he'll need to make sure he has a crystal if he's going to cross over into the 25 zone. That will happen 4 times for 4 rounds, and then at the end of the game, there's final scoring. So you do that end of round scoring at the end of the 4th round, and then you also get points for the number of letters in your sector, which I've spoken about before. Points for the number of time markers that you have left. So there's 1 point each for each time marker you have left. You get 5 points if you manage to get all 6 of your submarines into the sphere. And you get 5 points if you have a completed lab as well. So on that final scoring, you don't have to pay crystals to go across the red lines. You just move forward. Whoever has the most points at the end of that is the winner of the game. I hope this helps you get AquaSphere to the table. I hope this gives you an understanding of the rules. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you wish to be Gamesplained, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to see what games I've been playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.